now we're going to install the struts. So I'm going to walk you through how to take the OEM, or in my case, coilovers, off the car, and then it'll be the exact same in reverse to install the air struts. So to start, you can go ahead and pull the sensor clip here just with a pair of pliers. You just want to squeeze with pliers on the top and bottom of the clip, and then that'll pop out. And then your brake line on the other side is a 12 mil, so you're going to go ahead and take that out. And then you can take the two cam bolts, and those are 19 mil. So for the cam bolts, I'm going to go ahead and use my impact and then a socket on the other side just to hold the nut. The washer goes with the top bolt, so you want to make sure you keep those together. And we'll go ahead and do the same on the bottom. And then you'll definitely want a hammer just to hit the bolts out. And then as soon as the second one is about to fall, just be ready because your entire rotor is going to drop. Just let that hang. Now that everything down here is free, we can go ahead and take the three 12 millimeter bolts up top. So I'm going to loosen the top nuts now, and I'm going to take two of them out and leave the last one in, and then I'll go under and hold the strut, and Aaron will take the last nut off. Now that they're all loose, I'm going to go ahead and hold the strut, and we'll pop this one last nut off. You can just do it by hand. Now for the air strut, it's going to be the exact same thing in reverse. So I'm going to go ahead, hold it, Aaron's going to throw the top hat nuts on, and then we can go ahead and tidy up the bottom. So you can go ahead, pop the sensor clip right back in, and then it's a lot easier with two people. Unless you have a jack, you can jack up the rotor and kind of put it where you need it. I'm just going to kind of muscle it into place, and then Aaron's going to slide the bolts through. So the washer on the top bolt, then the nut. Bottom, just your nut. And I'm just kind of hand tightening everything for now, and then we're going to go back and go over all the torque specs for everything and properly torque everything down. And then next, your brake line. You can put your 12 mil back to secure that. And then we'll run the leader lines after and kind of zip tie all the wiring together, but that's everything back together. Now we're going to torque everything down properly. So in the instruction manual, they give you a chart of all the torque specs. So the 2 cam bolts, I'm going to start with those, and those are going to be 115 foot-pounds of torque. So I'm going to set my torque wrench and tighten those guys up now. Okay, cam bolts are torqued down. I'm going to go ahead and do the brake line. So the brake line is going to be 24 foot-pounds. The top nuts are going to be 15 pounds. So last thing on the install of the front struts is going to be the dampening adjusters. So I'm going to go ahead and throw those on right now. So they screw on. These 2 collars spin independently. So you're going to stick the Allen key head down and then spin the silver collar. Moving on to the rear of the car, you're going to be undoing this bolt, which is a 17 millimeter, goes to the bottom of your strut. You're also going to be undoing this bolt, which is another 17 mil. Then you have this bolt here, which is a 14, I believe, yeah, 14 mil. And then on the driver's side, this is the passenger side, so there's nothing here, but on the driver's side, there will be something here that you have to remove as well if you have the steering responsive headlights. So you can go ahead and remove those 3 or 4 bolts, and then we can move on to inside the trunk and take the 2 out of the top, and the entire strut will be loose.
almost off.
So we have the stock or coilover struts out now. So we're going to go ahead and put the air strut in. The only thing you really have to worry about is that your leader line is facing in towards the car, and then you're going to want to feed this up through the middle, line up your two studs, and then tag the two nuts, and then you can go ahead and put together the bottom. Now the air strut is installed from the top, so we're going to go ahead and push the arm back up and put our 3 bolts back in. And it does help to have a jack, and you can kind of lift the arm up with the jack and line up your holes perfectly. So we're going to go ahead and do that now. All 3 of the bolts are back in to the control arm, so I'm going to go ahead and tighten them all up and then torque them to the proper spec. So the lower shock bolt is going to be 59 foot-pounds. This one here we're going to torque to 59 foot-pounds as well. And lastly, the end link bolt is going to be 28 foot-pounds. So I've got all the bolts on the bottom of the car torqued down to spec. So we're going to go do the upper shock nuts, and they are going to be torqued to 22 foot-pounds. And once that's done, then we are finished installing the struts. So the rear strut is completely done now. Everything's torqued. I'm going to go ahead and just cut a tiny little hole in the liner here so that the dampener extension can come out and I can still actually use it. You don't have to use the extension. I'm choosing to use it, so this is up to you whether or not you want to do it. So as you can see, I just cut a tiny little notch, and now the extension is sticking out and it's still usable. So that's how I'm going to leave mine. And now I'm going to go ahead and do the installation on the other side of the car, and then it's time to run some lines.